even hotter than the brightest sun. What I got is a mountain, standing high above every other one. I got heart, I got soul, there's a power in me you can't control. What I got is a fire, it's untouchable.
Okay, and we are live with Jess from Maine's Tails, Fur, and Fins. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Hello, Mike. How are you?
So glad that you decided to join us for this interview. And it's I don't know. We're trying to really get to know FishTubers. You know, we all know each other, like we know each other, right? So I mean, you and I have met, we've chatted, but what do we really know about each other? You know, we don't know all that much. We know where we live, maybe, and we know what we're doing now, but we don't necessarily know how we got there. So I think maybe we'll chat about that kind of stuff and just and you know, learn a little bit about each other and let everybody else learn a little bit about each other in the process. So
sounds good to me.
All right. So my first question is, where do you come from? How'd you get here? What made you decide to become a FishTuber and become somebody who's got a whole bunch of fish tanks behind them that's selling fish? What prompted that?
Well, I'm going to start off saying that when I do anything, I do tend to like run in with hands and feet and everything.
Yeah.
And like, I don't do anything little, I guess. Okay. And, so just like, well, I grew up with the horses, but just about anything I've done, that's what I've done. I've just, boom, gone into it.
Right.
And I learn as I go, and I feel like it makes me have to learn it too. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to throw me into situations that if I was just kind of cruising along may not happen.
I get that. And
so, you know, it makes me have to learn it.
So you didn't start with one fish tank, you started with 30.
Sort of. So, you know, it's the typical, you start with the goldfish. You know, you get the goldfish from the fair at the school, throw it in the bowl, nothing, literally nothing but a bowl and water and a goldfish.
Right,
That's it. And, of course, it dies. It don't make it. And then that goes away. And our friend down the road had 2 really big saltwater tanks. Well, I say really big, 40 or 50s. I think they were 40s, really. And he was getting rid of one of them. And it had a sump. So it was like the 40 breeder and probably a 30 or something underneath. I don't know.
Right.
But I want it. So we got it. We set it up as fresh. And didn't know nothing about fish. Went to the store, picked out the prettiest ones I thought. So that went on. I mean, I had it for a good 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
And I got tired of cleaning it because I thought I was supposed to clean it. Like,
so you were emptying it and stuffing it and filling it back up again?
Taking the bio balls out of the sump and rinsing them off, taking the tank outside, rinsing the gravel till it ran clean every time.
How'd that work out for the fish?
They died. They didn't make it. I mean, I probably got to go to the fish store once every 2 months and buy new fish.
Right.
But I mean, nobody told you then. Nobody, you know, and I was ignorant. I didn't know. Yeah. And I don't know why I didn't. I think I was going to college at the time too, and had landed when I was young, and so I had a lot going on at one time.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to finish up the 2 years that I went to college, and then we had Landon, and then cleaning that tank just was not on the top of my list.
I get that.
And I just got tired of cleaning it. So we donated it to the Cypress Park, which is it's like a reserve type park.
Okay.
But I really do wish I would have known then what I know now, So
Sure.
I went many years up until a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
2 Decembers ago anyway. And before that, for a few months, I had been telling my mom has just fancy guppies. No, like what I've got now, lines and stuff. She's just got fancy guppies. And she's got 3 or 4 10-gallons, and that's it. And that's all she wants. She doesn't want any more.
Right.
She's happy with that. She's staying right where she's at.
Right.
So I kept telling her, dang, I just sit there, and when I go there, and I just sit there and I watch them, and I'm like, God, they're so pretty. Golly, I love them.
Right.
Mom, I want some. Mom, I want some. Well, she ended up telling me that she was going to give me some for Christmas, so I had went out and bought a 10-gallon, got a sponge filter, and at that time, when she told me that she was going to give me some for Christmas, I immediately went to YouTube. Why this time I thought about going to YouTube? Probably because there was YouTube. I don't think
back then there wasn't, YouTube was around, but it wasn't much of anything.
Nope, sure wasn't. So went straight to YouTube, and of course the first person you type in guppies, and the first person popped up is Corey.
Right.
And I mean, I learned a great deal from Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Like a great deal. But along the lines with the guppies, I wanted betas. And I wanted to breed betas.
Right.
And I did.
Wait. What made you decide you, like, out of the blue, I want to breed betas?
I'm attracted to flowy things.
Okay.
I mean, just in general.
All right,
Fringe,
but I mean,
horses,
I get it.
manes, and tails.
I get it, but you can still go to the pet store and go pick up 5 freaking betas. Why go through the process of trying to learn how to breed them?
Because I have that's another fetish thing I have. Anything I have, I breed it.
Okay.
And it kind of goes along the lines of, we always were brought up as, even our dogs were, they've got to earn their keep.
Okay. Were you raised on a farm? Like
I was.
Yeah.
Oh, yes and no. So my mom and dad split when I was 5. And my mom is a big horse person. And my dad is not.
Okay.
Like 2 total spectrums. And I grew up I cut my teeth on the saddle horn. Like, I was always in the saddle with my mom.
Okay.
And then by the age of 5, I was already running barrels on my own horse.
All right.
And then when they got divorced, we couldn't have the horses for a really long time. And it took Mom getting remarried. Dad never ever went back to horses. He was like, "Oh hell no, not happening."
He didn't really like them to begin with.
And because near the end of them splitting up, he got on one of Mom's horses that was acting up, and it ran him into a tree and broke his leg in 2 spots.
That'll make you not like them so much.
Yeah. And so he's never ever went back to horses ever. And I still had it in me. And I don't know if you've ever heard that people with horses, it's like in their blood. Like,
I get it.
You either have it or you don't. That's kind of how that is.
My mom always had it. I grew up with horses, and I always liked horsepower. I was never a huge fan of horses.
Yeah.
And
I think that's how Landon is, really. I think he likes the power and he loves to run, but when it comes to practicing, Yeah, no. Not happening. But me, I mean, once we were able to get horses again when my mom remarried, she got me an old gray gelding, and it had been 10 years since I had been on a horse at that point.
Right.
And in those 10 years, though, I kind of went to like the opposite spectrum, like my dad's side. And I did dance line. I was on the jump rope team. I mean, I was like,
you always had to be active in something.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And
I was very hyper. Like I could focus. I wasn't to where I could not focus. I was just hyper.
Right.
And I had to keep moving. I had to do something. And so I always did something.
Right.
And I felt like if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right. And if I was going to do it, it was going to be worth doing.
Right. So that plays into the fish tanks, because that's what happened is you went, if I'm going to get one, I might as well have 900 and raise some stuff. And
that's right.
Okay.
Yep, correct.
All right. So the selling thing seems to be something in your blood too. You do it with cattle, you do it with horses, you do it with puppies and fish.
And it's a funny thing because I'm not a salesman at all. I'm not.
Liar.
Like, I'm not.
Listen, you're amazing at selling. I watch you do it.
He's a salesman.
He's a salesman, but you're the other kind of salesman. You're the salesman that doesn't sell, but everybody wants to buy from you.
Oh, well, that's good. I hate asking people to pay me. Like, and that doesn't play really good with my landscaping, because I'll go and I'll do a job, and at the end of it, they'll say, okay, well, what do I owe you? And I'm like, and I always short myself. I always do it.
I get that. I do that with web design too.
And then a lot of times I work for a lot of elderly people, and so I know they're on a budget. And even though I have worked my rear off the last few days, and I'm out, well, I usually get my supplies paid for sure, but I always short myself on labor. Always.
Yeah.
And
I know that feeling.
I too kind-hearted, just can't. I don't know. I hate asking people for money. But if I have it on a site, like I have it on my site, and it's set, then I'm okay. I'm like,
and
okay.
It's easier because you've set the price and you've told people what it is, and
exactly. Yes.
Okay, so you have a Texas accent. You live in Louisiana. Where the hell did you get the Texas accent from?
Well, so you take Louisiana, and like about halfway down, you got Alexandria. Mm-hmm. Alexandria is the line of where you lose the Kunas, you lose the Cajun dialect. Okay. And it starts transforming more into the Texas, Arkansas, Arklatex.
Arklatex?
That's what we call it, the Arklatex. Dialect. Okay. It's not quite as Texan as Texas can get.
Sounds like Texan to me.
But it's damn sure not Cajun either. Okay. But I'm still Louisiana. I mean, born and bred here, never left.
Can you speak French?
Do what?
Do you speak French?
Nope.
Ah.
Not at all.
Neither do I. A couple of words.
In fact,
aren't viable.
There is still my maiden name is Reggio, and there is still a sign down in, like, you look at Shreveport Bossier and you go straight down, like all the way to the bottom of the boot, straight down though. Okay. And there's the Reggio plantation, and their sign is there. And of course, we don't own it anymore. We lost it in the Civil War. Okay. To the tax people. Okay. But it's still pretty cool that the sign is still there.
Right.
And you can go back and say, oh, well, that was our people back in the day,
Right.
But
assuming you want to claim them, because there are people that my name is on that I don't want to claim. So,
and the funny thing is, we have that on my side, and then on my husband's side for Landon, he's got Lafitte, John Lafitte.
okay.
So they are real. They don't have the accent, but they are Lafitte. For
Right.
real.
Got it.
So
Yeah, I mean, I like history.
I do too.
I like chasing history back and finding out, where the.
But I never did in school. You couldn't pin me down, but I couldn't sit still.
Yeah, I liked history in school. Actually, I didn't. I had a great teacher in history. I had a teacher that didn't teach in the sense that, he showed you.
You have to go read these chapters and then come back and do the study guides. And
well, he did with the go read this thing, but instead of just handing you a textbook and making you go read this dry crap,
right?
He had us read War and Peace, and he had us read books that were relative to whatever subject we were talking about. Yeah,
that's pretty
cool. Not relative. Yeah,
yeah,
and
that helped.
yeah. Well, Andy was a guy who wasn't a homework everyday guy. He was a here's your homework on Monday, turn it in on Friday, which gave you all the time to decide what it is that you were going to do with it, and on Thursday night at 1 a.m. finish it all.
Exactly, that's right.
But it did. It took that extra that extra pressure off of you every day, and always loved teachers that did that.
For real.
They were rare. Usually you had the teacher that was like, I want it in the morning, and you were like, but I don't want to do it tonight. And he was like, I don't care.
I had a my biology teacher was that way.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. Those are the best teachers in my opinion. But you don't get them. I don't know why you don't get them. You always get the crappy, pissed off teacher who wants to smack you with a ruler or something. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. So we talked about where the fish thing came from.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where the fish thing is. What are we doing these days? What's the process that we're going through?
So when I jumped in with both feet, I started buying lots of different strains of guppies, and I jumped in with both feet, and I learned the lesson. They weren't breeding true because I didn't buy from who I needed to buy from.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into who I bought from, but I have been working the last year on getting all of these lines to breed true. 70% and more. Most of them are 85 to 95 pure. Working hard on them. Well, I recently have decided that I have too many.
Okay. Hard to focus if you have too many lines going at the same time.
I have too many to be able to really focus on making those lines better than what they are. And I feel like the lines of guppies that I have deserve it. They were imported. And the parents died off not long after having, the babies. But once the babies were born, we're good. But getting pure and looking good to my quality of wanting to sell them, we're there now,
right?
On a bunch of them. I did have 17 strains. I am down to maybe 8, I think.
Okay.
And I don't have all of them on my website yet. That's for sure. Some of them I don't have enough of them to sell because I culled so hard that there's just not enough of them to sell. So I'm still building and making sure they're doing right before they go for sale. But and some of these lines are for sale in other places, but I promise you they're not going to breed like mine will.
Right. So how do you feel about the genetics being so similar? I mean, you're using spawn from the same line.
I am and I'm not. I do bring in new blood. I will breed brothers and sisters, moms, dads, whatever. The first time. Now, okay, so when I first got into the first line I bought were half black pastels. Loved them. Well, I had a 20-gallon. I had them in there, and I was just letting them breathe. And that was a very big lesson I learned. And if you're going to sell them, don't breed them all in one tank. Don't let them just keep on and keep on and keep on and not bring something in.
Right.
And watch what your young are looking like. And you really, to do it right, which is what I'm doing now, you need 2, 3, and 4 tanks to do one line because,
Gotcha. So how's your distribution? Are you only selling online to people that are finding you on the site, or are you selling to pet stores, or?
I will sell to anyone.
Well, no, I don't mean will, but are. Where do you have pet stores that are going anywhere? Or?
Yeah, well, okay, so my pure lines, no. The pet stores can't sell, or my LFS cannot sell pure strains for what I need to get for them.
I got you. All right, so let's go to the current rendition of the YouTube channel. What we see where you are now. You're streaming every day. You're doing your nightly stream with or your weekly stream with Chubbs, and is that where we're staying, or you got new plans, or is it?
I'm kind of just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay. It's working, so. It's
working. I enjoy it. I enjoy live streams. Like, I love doing live streams.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about where it came from, and we've talked about where it is. Where's it going?
So the goal is to be monetized. I want to continue doing live streams. That's my baby, I think. The Aquatic Morning Show, I definitely call that my baby.
Yeah.
I enjoy live streaming more than I do videos, but I will still put videos out. I do enjoy doing the shorts, but I never was a TikTok person, and still will not really watch it at all.
Right.
But I do like the shorts on YouTube. And
well, if you're doing TikTok, you're dance moves anyway. So,
and then with YouTube, I'm diversifying the fish room. So instead of having so many lines of guppies, I'm going with more things that I can sell to my LFS, and I can sell, on my website as well. But I wanted to be to where if I got too many of something, that it would be something that my LFS would want to buy.
Right.
They don't want all these pure strains guppies, like I said. So I've gotten down to the ones that I love. There are 2 strains that I want to show. I'll be getting into that. And there is a new strain that I'm working on that's all mine.
So you're going to be taking us to shows in a few months? You're going to be taking us to guppy shows?
Kinda, yeah. Hope so. Anyway.
Okay.
So I do want to show my big ear dark dragon.
Yeah, they're a cool looking fish.
The biggest ear I've seen on a guppy so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pattern on them is awesome, which I know that here recently we've been getting into some conversations on patterns and everything, and how people end up calling them whatever they want. But when you get down to the basics, what are they really? Right. And so we call them dragons, but they're more of going to be a grass or a snakeskin type instead of dragon.
Who cares? I like the word dragon.
Right. And I like dragon. Like I'm into like Renaissance and fantasy and that kind of stuff. Unicorns and fairies and I mean, I just like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, me too.
I love all that stuff. Love it.
What do you think of those Asian dragon arowanas? the gold tone with the
they're pretty.
reds and blues and blacks.
They're pretty,
Man,
but geez, the price on those suckers.
Yeah, well, that's only because they're specialized at the moment. Like, I mean, and yes, they're rare. Like you breed a certain kind of arowana and you get 500 spawn, and one of them might be one of those.
Wow.
But still, if they were in more production, if they were allowed in the United States, if they were allowed, in other places,
there'd be more of them.
There'd be more of them, and they would come down in price. You wouldn't be looking at a $10,000 freaking fish, but
right.
And we'd all be able to breed them too. I mean, yes, we might end up with 400 other arowanas, but people want arowanas, so it wouldn't be all that difficult.
I seen one in my my LFS.
Yeah, an actual like one of the gold types, or
no, it wasn't gold. It was not gold. It was
the silver arowana.
Yeah, the silver.
Yeah.
And it was like that long. It was tiny, and they had it in with my crevenzas that I sold them.
All right, so I guess that's where we are. We're done. This has been a great interview. So, got anything else you want to say to the Fish Fan before you go?
No, I love you guys. I have so much fun, and if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So I really appreciate it, and I have met so many friends, or that I can call friends, and awesome people. So, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. It's been. Listen. We're so glad you're with us, and I'm so glad to be included, and I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we will see you actually in 15 minutes when you're up live on Chubbs.
That's right.
Yeah, we sure will. So thank you so much for coming, and thanks everybody for watching, and that's us signing out. Thanks so much. All right.
Thanks, Mike.
What I got is a fire, burning even hotter than the brightest sun. What I got is a mountain, standing high above every other one. I got heart, I got soul, there's a power in me you can't control. What I got is a fire, it's untouchable.
And yet there are these assholes that are like, yes, I only take arowanas. Well, fine, but you're not going to get them. So whatever. I had a guy send me an email, or no, an instant message on Facebook a couple of days ago. And he's like, do you have any fish you want to surrender? I'm like, dude, we're a fish rescue. We have fish we want to rehome all the freaking time. Of course. Well, do you have any arowanas or any something else expensive? And I'm like, we do, but I'm not giving them to you.
Right.
I mean, somebody comes along and says, I've got a pond and I would like to enjoy an arowana in my pond, or I'd like to enjoy a clown knife in my pond, then okay, we'll talk about it. But if it's you begging for fish because you want to fill your aquarium, not that I'm against it. If you came to me with a different attitude, I'd have probably gone, yeah, all right.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But to come with me like that, eat me. But,
yeah.
I think I have a giant mystery snail crawling up my curtain. You have to go catch him and put him back in the water. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. I had one get out twice, and it wanted to go across my keyboard of my computer both times.